Tonight on CTV News.
They're kind of hidden away here.
We haven't built enough and we haven't invested enough in seniors' care.
Situation critical in seniors' homes. How an end to paying overtime is leading to concerning lapses in care. Also tonight.
It wasn't perfect. Mistakes were made.
The mayor admitting he was in the wrong on approving a new policing budget as the city faces cost overruns for police and fire to the tune of tens of millions of dollars. And
the largest drone we have at the moment, it can fly in basically all weather.
It's outfitted with thermal cameras and night vision. How a drone helped save a hiker stuck in BC backcountry.
This is CTV News with Nafisa Kareem.
Good evening. Thank you for joining us. Less than a week after the end of a provincial funding program, care homes are already seeing the effects. Many of BC's most frail and elderly are now bearing the brunt of government cost cutting. CTV's Penny Daflos now on why a critical staffing shortage in long-term care could impact everyone's access to health care.
Nestled in the heart of Vancouver's West End is one of BC's liveliest care homes.
Could be better than heaven. It's great.
Lil Nielsen moved to Hera Park after she turned 101 years old.
They've got that culture of caring, of empathy, of encouragement.
But there's no longer government funding to pay those staff members overtime. Hours earlier, Lil and the other 153 residents had to eat breakfast in their rooms because there weren't enough nurses to help get them ready.
So instead of coming down and socializing with other residents, interacting with staff, being in a different environment, they end up being isolated in their rooms.
Earlier in the week, a care aide called in sick and they had to reassign staff on shift.
That meant residents went without showers.
Since November 1st, not-for-profit operators across BC are facing those dilemmas daily, while care homes run by health authorities pay whatever it takes to get staff in the door.
There's no doubt that a senior will do way better in long-term care than they will in acute care.
BC's seniors advocate is being inundated with messages from concerned family members, and he's pushing for more supports.
Lots was invested when this was on the front pages of the papers, when this was on the 6 o'clock news. They are swimming in the same pool looking for staffing as the hospitals are looking for.
The Ministry of Health has reiterated pandemic-era funding has come to an end and they're investing to train new staff. But that doesn't help seniors who need help today.
They're kind of hidden away here, and they don't have the same level, I don't think, of advocacy.
So families and charitable operators are speaking up.
None of us are here to make a profit. We dedicate ourselves to this industry to serve the seniors.
At this moment, BC hospitals are full of seniors who need the assistance in long-term care. That makes wait times longer for other patients, while elders are deprived of a sense of home.
Here comes the rock and roll party.
Penny Daflos, CTV News, Vancouver.
Vancouver City Council has given the green light for substantial budget increases for the Vancouver Police and Fire Departments. Both went over budget by millions this year. And as CTV's Isabella Zavarisi reports, the mayor and VPD are now facing tough questions about an expensive task force they failed to get approval for.
The initial rollout, approval process, what have you, on Project Barrage was bumpy.
Vancouver Mayor Ken Sim finally admitting he didn't go through the proper channels for Task Force Barrage, a $5 million initiative targeting crime on the downtown east side.
It wasn't perfect. Mistakes were made, and we acknowledged them.
We've being clear that there was some missteps with regards to the authorization process. It should have actually gone through the police board first.
Recognizing the task force didn't abide by the Police Act, as CTV News exclusively reported in May, wasn't good enough for opposition councillors.
This has been a process that's violated the principles of integrity, accountability, and good governance.
Why is it coming to us now as an overtime expenditure when it in fact should have been properly and duly authorized through the board and to council?
The police and the fire departments are over budget by a combined $21 million this year. $4.6 million is for the fire department's fleet maintenance. The VPD spent an extra $17 million on protests, overtime, and Task Force Barrage.
We had over 2,000 weapons seized from the downtown east side. We had
over 1,100 warrant arrests.
We have seen about a 28 to 32% reduction in overall calls for service, primarily around our medical calls.
On Wednesday, Council approved the cost overruns.
Whatever it takes to provide a safe city, we will.
Next week, the city will discuss its $2.3 billion operating budget. The VPD is asking for nearly $500 million, while other departments face millions in cuts following a push for a 0% property tax increase next year. Isabella Zavarisi, CTV News, Vancouver.
Dramatic testimony today on day 3 of the first-degree murder trial of Nicholas Bellemare, who is accused of killing RCMP Constable Rick O'Brien. Other officers testified about what they saw when they responded to that fateful radio call about shots fired. CTV's Ben Milger has more from New Westminster Supreme Court.
The condo tower where Constable Rick O'Brien was shot while executing a drug warrant is just 200 meters from the Coquitlam RCMP detachment. When the call came over the radio about shots fired, officers in that detachment rushed to the scene to see how they could help. Before those officers took the stand, a neighbor testified he heard between 7 and 10 gunshots on his floor, followed by shouting. Over the next few minutes, looking through the peephole on his door, he saw officers taking cover around corners in the hallway. A short time later, a senior officer from the Coquitlam detachment arrived and made his way to the 22nd floor. Superintendent Chris Gable, then an inspector, testified he saw officers tending to Constable O'Brien, who had been shot in the head. On security video played in court, he and other officers can be seen pulling O'Brien into the elevator and taking him to waiting paramedics in the building lobby. Despite extensive life-saving efforts, O'Brien would be pronounced deceased in an ambulance outside the condo tower. As that happened, other officers remained on high alert on the 22nd floor. They held their positions in the hallway with weapons drawn in case there were other suspects in the unit where police had been executing the search warrant. The trial is scheduled to run until mid-December. None of the other officers who breached the door and were there for the exchange of gunfire have testified yet. Ben Milger, CTV News, New Westminster.
The Premier and coastal First Nations are calling on the federal government to keep in place a ban on oil tankers off the province's north coast. It comes as Alberta wants that ban lifted as part of its proposal to build a pipeline to the west coast. CTV's Rob Buffum has the story.
Coastal First Nations joined BC Premier Eby to reaffirm their opposition to lifting the tanker ban on BC's north coast.
One crude oil spill would destroy billions of dollars in economic activity.
The show of force after Alberta Premier Danielle Smith's government has repeatedly called for an end to the moratorium on North Coast tankers so it can build a new oil pipeline to the coast.
One province or one premier cannot block the assets of 5 million Albertans in our most important industry.
On Wednesday, Coastal First Nations leaders signed a declaration reiterating a 50-year standing opposition to tankers, motivated by fears of a catastrophic spill and its potential impact on the ecosystem and economy related to tourism and fisheries.
We know fully the effects of what an oil spill can do to the ocean, to our breadbasket, to our way of life.
Eby reiterated frustrations. There's no proponent for a pipeline, and talk of one could compromise existing agreements with Coastal First Nations to support BC's energy projects, including LNG and mines.
It's really difficult for me to shadow box with a non-existent project that has non-existent benefits because it will never be built and it's not going to happen. I have to deal with the real. And in British Columbia, we're dealing with the real growth of our economy.
In a statement, Premier Smith responded, "A single parochial premier cannot block the export of the most valuable asset of 5 million Albertans. The decision to build this pipeline lies solely with Prime Minister Carney and the federal government, and we expect him to act decisively and in support of this project." A perspective shared by BC Conservative leader John Rustad.
And I think British Columbia can play a pivotal role in seeing that prosperity for all of Canada, as well as unity for Canada, by supporting the idea of moving our resources to the coast and getting them to foreign markets.
A coast increasingly coveted by different groups with competing interests.
Rob joins us now from Victoria. And Rob, what has the Prime Minister said about the prospect of lifting the tanker ban and building a new pipeline?
Well, Nafisa, this has obviously come up quite a few times in the past few weeks, and Mark Carney has not been committal either way on this. Danielle Smith, she expects to get a green light the project of a pipeline and the associated lifting of the tanker ban by Grey Cup, which, as you know, is just over 10 days away, so we could find out very soon. Nafisa.
Rob, thank you. AI at the forefront of phishing scams. Now even the savviest are at risk. One tech business owner says phishing scams can now be created in minutes using popular AI platforms to cast a wider net. Just ahead, why they say these new scam emails could bypass your spam folder and look more realistic than ever. But first, let's take a look outside. You can see some lights out there on Robson Street. Stephanie Florian filling in today for Ann Liu. We've got some rainfall heading our way.
We sure do. Nice to get a little bit of a break tonight, though. And also, there was a double rainbow. I've been seeing people posting about this rainbow this evening. But also today, the supermoon. Let's take a look at that. This is a great chance to get out there. This is the largest supermoon of 2025, the Beaver supermoon. So get out there and grab a chance to see it tonight because, yes, we do have more rain moving in. Temperatures, though, holding at our seasonal temperatures right now for the day at our daytime highs. So still in the double digits out there in some areas. We are expecting those showers to push in, winds to pick up a little bit through the overnight, but it's the big storm system that's moving in tomorrow midday into the early afternoon. We do have rainfall warnings to tell you about and a little bit of sunshine too.
CTV Weather brought to you by Expedia Cruises. Plan, book, and safeguard your journeys. Explore the possibilities at expediacruises.ca.
So yes, parts of Metro Vancouver are under rainfall warnings. Currently, I'm going to show you those coming up with your full forecast.
All right, thanks, Steph. Well, tech experts are warning about a troubling trend, how AI platforms are now able to generate thousands of realistic phishing emails in just seconds, making it almost impossible to see what's legit and what isn't. It's a gift for scammers unless you know exactly what to look for. With more, here's CTV's Dimitra Maragos.
That familiar sound that tech experts say
it's not like before
should sound alarm bells.
Do not trust anyone.
Mohammed Jokari, a cybersecurity student at BCIT, says those close to him have received phishing emails that seem real.
He just clicked on it because he thought it was legit. So even younger people are actually falling for this.
Jokari says these new phishing emails aren't just targeting the elderly, but more tech-savvy Gen Zers.
The reason they fall for it is because AI was able to bypass Gmail spam folder.
He says these scam emails are using popular AI tools, including ChatGPT and DeepSeek. But how easy is it? In this demo using ChatGPT, Jokari asked the platform to create a phishing email. ChatGPT says they couldn't create a phishing email. That would be facilitating fraud and harm until he changed the prompt. Seconds later,
not only he created the phishing email, but he actually created the full website.
Jokari says with this technology, bad actors are able to cast a larger net.
If you give it 24 hours, it can send over 10,000 emails in a day.
Tech experts like Mike Agarbo says he isn't surprised these phishing emails are able to penetrate through spam filters.
They've got all the background of all of our human scam and spam, and they basically use that to create human-sounding emails that can get through a lot of the filters.
CTV News reached out to Google. The company says it blocks 99.9% of spam, phishing, and malicious messages. And adds, quote, "We continually update and evolve our protections to stay ahead of attackers, including deploying groundbreaking AI defenses." Agarbo says AI is making it challenging for any tech company to keep up.
The scammers are always using the latest tools and getting better and better at it. And of course, the tech companies are, playing catch up with that.
Jokari and Agarbo say, when in doubt,
don't click on links.
Dimitra Maragos, CTV News, Vancouver.
The Vancouver School Board is proposing the permanent closure of an elementary school that was damaged in a 2016 fire, but leaked documents are raising questions about the board's motive.
This attempt to get transparency and accountability from the VSB, the way that the facilities planning has happened, they're keeping key information from stakeholders.
Parents and teachers rallied outside the VSB headquarters this morning, calling for transparency around plans for Sir Guy Carleton Elementary. A VSB report suggests a Francophone school board wants to open a high school at the site, but leaked documents show the board has already rejected that proposal and may actually be considering one from Vancouver Coastal Health. Thousands of trees have been cut down in Stanley Park because of a moth infestation. Some parts of Vancouver's crown jewel are now unrecognizable, and now a local nonprofit is taking the fight over the logging to court. That story when CTV News continues. Stay with us. The Lower Mainland's Jamaican community is coming together and rallying support for victims of Hurricane Melissa. At Royals Event Community Centre in Surrey, Janice Davis and dedicated volunteers fill up barrels with donations from the community. Everything from non-perishable items to clothing, baby supplies and hygiene products. It's all part of an effort to support victims of Hurricane Melissa, which made landfall in Jamaica last week, causing mass flooding and devastation.
So all this goods is going directly to Jamaica, and I decide with all this hard work and dedication, people coming here to volunteer, I am going down there on foot because I want this to get to the people them that they need to get to.
She says she's grateful for the community support. So far, they've filled up more than 23 barrels, which will be shipped off, and Davis says they are aiming for more donations as the campaign is set to run through the end of the month. The debate over how to protect and rebuild Stanley Park's forest is ramping up. A group of residents who've been fighting tree removals there are getting ready for their day in court. The judicial review stems from the city's decision to remove thousands of trees damaged by the western hemlock looper moth, while the park board says it's about restoring the forest's health and preventing wildfires. Opponents argue the scope of the planned clearings, more than 160,000 trees, has drastically changed the park's landscape. They claim the process lacked fairness and transparency and want the court to step in.
Our belief is that if trees were being properly assessed, which they're not, then there would be a very small number of trees that would indeed be dangerous and would need to be removed, and we would have no objection to that. The problem is the city of Vancouver has admitted that they are not individually assessing trees.
The city says roughly 11,000 trees have been removed or treated by contractors so far. The hearing is expected to last several days. The countdown is on for WestJet and its flight attendants union to reach a new deal. The current contract expires December 31st. The flight attendants union has released a video poking fun at the airline's new non-reclining seats while outlining concerns about working conditions. Flight attendants want to be paid for all of their work. Right now, they're only compensated for the time planes are in the air. A bill aimed at ending unpaid work for flight attendants is being considered by the federal government, but experts say the clock is ticking if WestJet and the union don't reach a deal.
The odds of a strike, as far as I'm concerned, if that legislation doesn't happen, and it's still and pay for work performed remains an issue, we probably have a strike in January.
Unpaid work was the main reason behind an Air Canada flight attendant strike in August. Arbitrators are still working out that contract. Still ahead, how local researchers have found toxic forever chemicals in sea otters on our coast. Plus, a man missing in BC backcountry is found by a drone operator and using cell phone tech was eventually led out to safety. We'll show you how drones are changing the face of search and rescue operations. And later,
Yogi's in there unhappy.
Oh no. A hairy situation for some police officers. A bear breaks into an SUV and gets stuck. How they got it out and the mess left behind. As CTV News at 6 continues. Another poultry farm in the Fraser Valley has been infected with avian flu. The Canadian Food Inspection Agency confirmed the presence of the virus at a commercial farm in Langley. The agency says nearly 11.5 million birds have been affected in BC between February 2022 and October of this year. However, the CFIA says there is no evidence to suggest that eating cooked poultry or eggs could transmit the virus to humans. The fate of a BC ostrich flock could become clearer tomorrow. The Supreme Court of Canada will determine whether to hear a last-ditch appeal against an ordered cull of the animals. Among the leave applications that'll be ruled on is Universal Ostrich Farm's challenge of the Canadian Food Inspection Agency's order to cull the flock after an avian flu outbreak was detected late last year. If the court decides not to hear the case and lifts a stay, there will be no legal impediment to the killing of hundreds of birds on the Edgewood farm. However, if leave to appeal is granted, a final decision on the fate of the flock would come after a hearing at the High Court. A search and rescue squad on Vancouver Island is going all in on drones. The team is using the technology to make difficult rescues a little easier, particularly at night. CTV's Andy Garland shows us the plans to expand the program that can help save lives.
Careful when I do this because I remember how much. A fundraising effort has secured Aerosmith Search and Rescue's most advanced drone yet.
The largest drone we have at the moment. It can fly in basically all weather.
It's equipped with a thermal camera, night vision, 400 times digital zoom, and a spotlight that can be used during nighttime searches.
Turn the spotlight on and light up the scene to have a good visual look at whatever the thermal is giving us.
Aerosmith sees drones as the future of search and rescue.
It's definitely changing the way search and rescue works and the speed at which we can find and locate people and ultimately save lives.
The province allowed SAR teams to start using drones at the start of this year. Since then, Aerosmith has secured 5 of them and has trained 7 members to be pilots.
We jumped in with 2 feet and started building the biggest, most robust drone program we could come up with. And it's proved to be absolutely excellent. And this is actually the drone that we use to locate our missing hiker.
Just a couple weeks ago, this drone was used to find a lost hiker near Cameron Lake and guide them out before nightfall.
The highlights of this showed was that the technology works and that we were able to do this before hypothermia set in and before ground teams could even arrive.
Not even a year into using drones, Aerosmith SAR says it's taking the program to a new level with a dedicated drone response vehicle.
This is what we believe to be the first in the province and quite potentially the first search and rescue drone-specific built vehicle in the country.
Through the 100 Women Who Care charity, the vehicle has been purchased and is already being used to transport drones.
We're working to have as much tech in here as we can. So looking at range, looking at AI color analysis.
The SAR team is now looking at a drone that could carry cargo during missions on and off the island.
We've been all over the island and requested off the island as well for that specific resource. So it's expanding, and I think we're going to see that grow as well.
Andy Garland, CTV News, Qualicum Beach.
A new study shows sea otters here in BC are contaminated with so-called forever chemicals, which are found in food packaging, non-stick cookware, cosmetics, and other products. Researchers at UBC took samples from dead otters off the coast. They showed varying concentrations of several chemicals in the animal's liver and skeletal muscle tissue. Researchers say samples collected near shipping routes and communities such as Victoria and Tofino had triple the concentration of contaminants.
The goal with any sort of research like this is we want to see less of the contaminants. We want to see no contaminants in anything, not in sea otters, not in humans. Whether that's realistic or not is another question, but something that is realistic is regulations that restrict their production and use, and Canada has been regulating these contaminants.
Now, the exact effect of these chemicals on otters is unknown, but the researcher says they are known to harm the immune system. VGH is marking 50 years since becoming one of the first hospitals in Canada to set up a biomedical engineering department. To celebrate, the public was invited to a rare open house.
Giving them a chance to sort of see what a biomed department looks like, what kind of equipment we have, talk to some of the technologists that are working in the field, and really try to spread the word about what is a largely not well-known career option for people.
The department now supports 27 hospitals and over 140 clinics across the Lower Mainland, keeping nearly 120,000 devices safe, reliable, and ready to use. Still ahead, a bear somehow gets stuck in an SUV. We'll show you how some officers got it out. Plus, traffic jam. A train slams into a truck carrying a payload of pears. What a mess. How does this happen? That story when CTV News at 6 returns. A fruity mess in the Netherlands after a high-speed passenger train slammed into a cargo truck carrying thousands of pears. The driver got stuck on the tracks as the barriers came down and tried to move out of the way, but it was too late. The impact sent fruit flying in every direction, but miraculously, only minor injuries were reported. The next time you're looking for medical advice, you'll have to try somewhere other than ChatGPT. For better or worse, many Canadians turn to the internet for guidance on how to deal with health issues, and nowadays that often means AI tools like ChatGPT. But parent company OpenAI recently updated its policies so the chatbot won't offer medical or legal advice. The rules now state ChatGPT can't be used for, quote, tailored advice that requires a license. A study led by researchers at the University of Waterloo found the bot only got 31% of open-ended medical questions entirely correct. That's scary. Police in Colorado had to bear down and get creative after finding a furry suspect stuck inside an SUV. The curious bear broke in and couldn't get back out. Officers armed themselves with pepper spray in case things got hairy. They used a string to pull open the door from a safe distance.
Yogi's in there unhappy.
Oh, no.
Come on, Yogi.
The bear, nicknamed Yogi, took off without a scratch. The car, however, well, not so lucky. I feel like there's going to be an entire generation of kids who have no idea who Yogi Bear is, and I think it's our duty to keep that alive. So, kids, Yogi Bear just was after picnic baskets.
Yeah, and Smokey the Bear from the weather department. I love him too, but it's these stories that make me really remember not to leave any food in my car.
Exactly.
Exactly. Hello, good evening, everyone. Yeah, we got a nice calm before the next storm. We have that super moon out there tonight, catching a nice little break, but we do still have these rainfall warnings in place. That's because we do have more rain on deck. In fact, 40 to 70 millimeters expected with additional rainfall coming on Friday morning. So we've got a couple more waves of heavy rain, downpours, and gusty winds as well. So it's areas in Howe Sound, Northwest Vancouver, Northeastern Metro Vancouver, including Maple Ridge and Coquitlam, that are under those rainfall warnings currently. We also have coastal flooding statements in place, and as this system really pushes in on the coast, high tide, we do have that risk of seeing some coastal flooding. So that's the west side, north end, right around Greater Victoria, around the coastal regions, and around Campbell River. So it's going to pack a lot of moisture. As you can see, there's that next big wave. It's moving in on the island first and then hitting us really midday and through the afternoon, really impacting us. And then that's going to slide into the interior. So we'll see some sunshine through the interior, and then it'll be tomorrow night that really starts to impact that rain, that system through the interior region. How much rain can we expect? There's your rain tracker taking us to right when this next system pushes in, and then there you go. So look at these numbers. Squamish, 55 millimeters, 51 for North Vancouver, 41 for Chilliwack, taking us into Friday. So it's going to be soggy. Port Hardy, heavy rain, 11 degrees, 11 for Campbell River and Comox, heavier rain a little bit later on that side. Tofino, though, we could see some thunderstorm activity, heavy rain for Port Alberni. We'll see some breaks actually down towards Victoria, south of Nanaimo, and then that heavier rain a little bit later. Squamish, Whistler, showers, heavy rain in through the evening hours. Look at these temperatures, 12 degrees. So it is going to be quite mild. It'll be gray, and then in the morning we might see a sliver of sunshine before, yes, we'll get hammered with the system midday. So get ready, get those umbrellas out. It's going to be very soggy, very windy, and we do have some sunshine to look forward to. Hopefully a little bit on Friday, but Saturday looks to be the best day of all. CTV Weather is brought to you by Expedia Cruises for air, land, and sea vacations.
I like that we get a little break on the weekend. That's the day everyone's going to want to kind of get their yard work done.
We need a sliver of hope with the 7-day mostly rain in the forecast.
It's November. Thanks, Steph. Looking for love or a job, the surprising number of people who are on dating sites actually hoping to match with employers. Plus,
if you're having a dispute on a bill, pay it, and that way your credit score isn't going to take a hit.
it wasn't even a big bill, but for one Ontario senior, a credit card billing dispute ended up tanking her credit. We'll be right back. Taking a look at today's markets, the Canadian dollar traded for 70 cents to the American dollar. Oil was down 96 cents, closing the day at $59.60 U.S. a barrel. Gold gained more than $32 on the day. TSX and the Dow Jones both finished the day higher, up to 325 points and 225 points. Nintendo is leveling up its sales forecast for its newest gaming console. The video game giant says it now expects to sell 19 million units of the Nintendo Switch 2 in its current fiscal year, which ends in March. That's a signal of strong optimism after earlier projections set expectations for the year at 15 million. The Japanese company says more than 10 million Switch 2 units have already been sold since it hit shelves back in June, with strong demand helping Nintendo beat revenue and profit expectations for the latest period. A new survey suggests 1 in 3 dating app users are actually looking for a job, not romance. The survey spoke with more than 2,200 dating app users in the States, ages 18 to 35. 34% said they'd use the apps for professional or career-related reasons in the past year. Nearly 10% said it was the primary reason they were even on the platforms, and more than half of the users turning to dating apps for their job hunt said they believe personal connections were the best way to get hired. Well, it is one of the most important numbers in your life, your credit score. One Ontario woman says a billing dispute hurt hers, and now she can't get a loan. A CTV's Pat Foran reports a good score can save you money, while a bad one will cost you.
A woman we'll call Gloria asked us not to identify her as she is embarrassed about her situation. The senior has mobility and eyesight issues, but the former bookkeeper says she's always been very careful paying her bills. Have you always paid your bills on time?
Oh, before the due date.
Gloria says in February she got a credit card bill for $389 and believes she paid it. But her bank said it never received the funds and kept sending the same bill month after month and adding interest. Gloria was worried she would be paying the bill twice.
Why should I put that money in their pocket? For what? If you pay it, why do you have to pay again? I don't understand that.
After she didn't pay the bill for 8 months, her credit score dropped to the lowest level. Her home insurance doubled. She was unable to co-sign her son's car loan, and she was denied a new credit card. Gloria says she didn't know disputing the charge could cause so many problems.
I thought they'd go only after me for the money. I never thought they were gonna destroy my credit score.
A good credit score can help you rent an apartment, get a loan, and qualify for lower interest rates. But late payments can lead to a lowered credit score, increased interest rates, higher late fees, difficulty getting new credit, and accounts could be closed or have reduced credit limits.
If you're behind on a $100 a month payment, your credit score really takes a hit because they figure, hey, if you can't handle a $100 payment, we're certainly going to not loan you a larger amount of money.
Doug Hoyce, a licensed insolvency trustee, says in the event you feel there's a mistake on one of your bills, pay it first and try to settle it later.
If you're having a dispute on a bill, pay it, and that way your credit score isn't going to take a hit, and then fight over it later. If you win, you get your money back.
After CTV News contacted her bank, they determined Gloria had not paid the bill. Now she has, but it could take as long as 6 years before the unpaid bill doesn't show up on her credit score. Pat Foran, CTV News.
After the break, dog lovers rejoice. We have some local furry friends that need to find their forever homes. Plus,
got it to Besser in front, backhander scores! Brock Besser with a second to go!
Canucks are coming off a road win in Nashville, playing at home against North Vancouver's Connor Bedard and the Chicago Blackhawks. The Rinkside Report is next. Plus, animal installation. Adam finds out what happened after a renovation revealed a wall stuffed with stuffies. That's coming up on the Sawatsky sign-off. Right now, here's a preview of Your Morning Vancouver.
Well, safety officials are warning about a deadly winter risk, carbon monoxide poisoning. Thursday on Your Morning Vancouver, how to protect yourself from the silent killer. A BC woman living with diabetes is turning her struggles into advocacy, inspiring others this Diabetes Awareness Month. Plus, the remarkable teens that are being recognized on the national stage for their mental health advocacy. We'll see you in the morning.
The Ringside Report, brought to you by
CapitalDirect.ca. Let's make your vision a reality with Capital Direct.
It's been a challenging start to the season for the Canucks, with the team ravaged by injuries. It was so bad, in fact, 9 regulars were taken out of the lineup last week. But as CTV's Martin McMahon reports, a 4-game homestand that starts tonight provides a chance to recharge and regroup. Here's this week's Ringside Report.
Have dealt with injury after injury this season, but what they haven't lost is their fight, grinding out tight wins while often relying on young call-ups.
Yeah, I mean, we compete for sure, and we work hard. We're hard to play against.
Besser in front, backhander scores!
A major difference has been the team's overtime and shootout success after a season where they failed to pick up the extra point more than half the time after 60 minutes.
We've really focused on it, and we've got a strategy for it, and really appreciate how, again, the guys have bought into that.
An ongoing question remains the ice time of Captain Quinn Hughes and whether 26-plus minutes a game is sustainable, especially in a year with a congested schedule due to the mid-season Olympic break.
I've always been on, ask all the coaches, I've always wanted to play more and more and more, but I mean, it's tough, especially with the schedule and how condensed everything is, and you want to be able to get through the season.
Yeah, it's something we're going to monitor and make sure that his minutes are too hard and he's not playing too difficult minutes in the D zone and things like that, because some minutes are different than others, right? And if it's power play minutes, they're different than D zone minutes, but something we're going to monitor very, very closely for sure.
While the injury bug has been the storyline, bodies are starting to return. The team's points leader, Connor Garland, back healthy and ready to compete, and the Canucks now have a stretch at home to build. After North Vancouver's Connor Bedard and the Chicago Blackhawks' only visit of the year Wednesday, the Canucks host the Blue Jackets, Avalanche, and Jets, with other injured players like Teddy Bluger nearing a return to the lineup. Martin McMahon, CTV News, Vancouver.
The Ringside Report, brought to you by Capital Direct.
CapitalDirect.ca.
Ovechkin continues to rewrite the NHL history books. He became the first and only member of the NHL's 900-goal club tonight with his second-period goal against the St. Louis Blues. The 40-year-old passed Wayne Gretzky as the league's all-time leading goal scorer back in April. A Vancouver Island hockey team has seen an outpouring of support after their equipment was stolen. The South Island Ravens is a team for athletes with developmental and intellectual disabilities. Yesterday, they made a public request for donations after some of their equipment, including skates and goalie gear, was stolen. Just a day later, the team says the Vancouver Canucks, Victoria Royals, and retailer Kirby's, Source for Sports, have chipped in and replaced all of the stolen equipment. Now they're asking people to think about supporting other inclusive sports teams in BC.
Some people have donated from the lower mainland and the interior. I just want to let people know that there's 13 other teams in BC, adapted hockey teams like ours. There's the Canucks autism teams in Vancouver and Burnaby and Surrey. There's the Little Heroes in Chilliwack. There's the Okanagan teams, and all rely on public donations to operate. So we're good. If you want to donate, you can donate to one of these worthy teams.
The South Island Ravens are thanking people for their generosity and say going forward, donations can be used to grow their program. An update now on a story we brought you last week about a Pitt Meadows cyclist searching for the Good Samaritans who helped save his life. Paul Craig telling CTV News he's now been connected with the pair who came to his aid, and he's thrilled they know he's alive and doing well. Craig, a competitive cyclist, suffered a sudden cardiac arrest and collapsed while riding along a dike in late September. A man and woman who were nearby jumped into action, calling 911. The man even rode Craig legs bike to the nearest road to meet first responders. The power of news.
Yeah, real life heroes. That's amazing.
Well, now we're going to use the power of news to find homes. It's time for Homeward Bound, a new weekly segment where we introduce you to furry friends from local rescues looking for their forever home.
Here are some dogs from the BC SPCA.
Meet Jenga. This 2-year-old mini pincher Rottweiler mix is full of love and energy. Now, she can be a bit shy at first, but once she warms up, it's all cuddles and zoomies. Jenga plays well with one of her canine pals at the SPCA, but she will likely need slow and structured introductions with new pals.
This is Hazel, a sweet and curious 9-month-old shepherd mix who's gaining confidence by the day. She's described as bright, intelligent, and treat motivated. Hazel would thrive if a calm home would take her, patient people who can help her blossom through positive reinforcement. She's adoptable now from the BC SPCA in Abbotsford.
I'm also treat motivated. Finally, this gorgeous Great Pyrenees is named Harley, and she's about 2 years old. Harley came to the BC SPCA in Abbotsford as a stray, making her past a bit of a mystery. True to her breed, Harley may howl occasionally, but is otherwise calm, independent, and loyal. She's looking for a quiet, structured home with no kids or other pets and a secure yard to roam.
Oh, look at
I love that smile.
Well, for more information, you can head to adopt.spca.bc.ca. And another way you can support the SPCA is a night of cuddles, dinner, and dancing. Sign me up. At their annual off-leash gala, you can fetch tickets on their website. Kevin, just before we get to the Swatsky sign-off, what are you working on for 11:30?
Well, Nafisa, hundreds of City of Vancouver jobs could be eliminated. That's according to a memo obtained by CTV News regarding the proposed 2026 Back to Basics budget. We'll hear from Mayor Ken Sim. Plus, we're learning more about Saturday's train derailment and Kamloops. Cleanup is well underway after more than 12,000 liters of fuel spilled as the train went off its tracks right near Kamloops Lake. What are the environmental impacts and how did this happen? We'll hear from a local government official. Those stories and all your late-breaking news coming up at 11:30.
All right, thanks, Kevin.
You bet.
Well, finally, a garage renovation on Vancouver Island took an unexpected turn when hundreds of stuffed animals were found hidden behind the walls. Now, as Adam shows us, that strange discovery is inspiring real-life acts of kindness around the world on tonight's Encore Sawatsky sign-off.
Are you ready for the big reveal?
As he prepared to remove this drywall, Connor Nisi was fearing for the worst.
I found some mold at one point.
Even uncovered rats once. But instead of rodents hiding,
there's just stuffed animals staring at me on the other side. You can't wrap your head around it. Like, this is weird.
But then his wife, Brianne Hinckley, pulled out her camera, and Connor pulled off another panel, and things got even weirder.
Stuffed animals. Can't make that up.
Instead of insulation, this couple found the entire wall, from floor to ceiling, stuffed with stuffies.
If I didn't have it on camera, you wouldn't believe it.
They don't know who did this or why, because they aren't in contact with the home's former owners. But they do know that when they posted the video for their few friends to see on social media, more than 5 million others saw it too.
Realized we had to do a little bit more about this. The internet wanted more.
So they posted another video showing the stuffies freed from the confines of the protective plastic and asked if anyone recognized one from their childhood.
And I said, oh my gosh, that looks exactly like my fluffy yellow duck.
Angela McNellan replied that when she was little, she loved her fluffy ducky buddy so much, all the stuffing came out. And her mom threw it away.
So I was devastated as a kid, and I've always been searching for it.
So Connor and his wife agreed to mail not just one fluffy duck from BC to Ontario, but 2, so Angela's daughters could have one each.
These mean something to someone, right? It's nostalgia.
So Connor's committed to get as many of these orphan animals adopted as possible.
Yeah, if you can make a difference, why not?
So far, he sent these few off to the US and UK, while Angela's duo of donated ducks just arrived today.
Honestly, it feels like the Canadian spirit to me. It's just spreading joy.
And after who knows how many years of being stuck insulating a wall, these animals are now set to fulfill their destiny of comforting kids. Adam Sawatsky, CTV News, Saanich.
I wonder if stuffies are cheaper than insulation, and that's how they got there in the first place.
I'm curious, was there an insulation shortage one year or something that we didn't hear about?
Or they didn't want to take them with them, and they just put them in the wall. I don't know. I love this. It's a mystery.
Oh, look at this stunner of a photo taken in Squamish. Thank you, Amanda Newman, for sending that in. Absolutely gorgeous. You're going to want to hold on to this image, especially as we're heading into a few days of rain. The sun will come back, though. If you'd like to send us your scenic snapshot, email scenicsnapshot@ctv.ca.
Keep those umbrellas handy, and of course, stay up and tune in at 11:30 and catch Kevin Chirac. But for now, thank you so much for spending part of your evening with us. Good night.
See you later.